Leo 10, Early Morning Dew. We get up after a dark night, go out into the day, and we see this wonderful phenomenon of temperature and pressure, which brings glistening beads of sparkling jewels to our attention. And there's this sense of rejuvenation that occurs. We're new again in the early morning dew. And the same feeling arises sometimes in the springtime, when the winter has been cold and dark, and the first daffodils or snowdrops suggest the coming of something, and then spring is with us, and yeah, see, here we go again. This is something we've experienced again and again, 1,000 times in the case of an early morning, and yet it can still be exciting. And we have come to terms with the relationship between our feelings and the scenarios in our life. And we tend to act as though and speak as though how we feel is a result of our circumstances. That idea needs to turn around if we're to be really successful in life. It's the other way around. Our circumstances are the outpourings of how we feel. We need to control our feelings, and then we will find that life circumstances unfold in accordance with this feeling. It's a bit of a mystery, this one. It's against all of the things that people teach us when we're children and in books of scripture and so on. The truth is that the world is a mirror, reflects our inner condition. Absolutely. So if we're happy, scenarios that we experience are happy ones. If we're depressed, scenarios that we experience are sad ones. And the cause of our changing our state of being is will. When we have the will and let that develop into a rhythmic practice, so we don't have to stoke up the will every time, we can just remember our routine. And our routine has to be engineered so that our routine is optimism. This is the key mystery in this degree. The early morning dew is a promise of newness, and optimism is that. When life gets dark, as a dark night or a cold winter, when life is like that, something happens to you. What's happened is you've slipped off. You've moved off center. That's why it's happened to you. You have to get back on. And being on center means having optimism, having faith that what's coming next is better than what's been before. That's what the mystery of life is. We're reminded of it constantly. Everywhere we look, we notice that people that walk as though they feel successful, they feel happy, they feel at peace, these people that walk as though they're like that, are like that. And it would be foolish for us to interpret cause and effect the wrong way around. Their life is peaceful because they carry inner peace. Their life is happy because they choose to be happy, whatever may come. It's a question of, do you see the glass half empty, that you've used up half of your resources, or half full? Wow, you've got all of that left. That's the whole attitude. The water in the glass doesn't change, but your relationship with it changes. And therefore your relationship with life changes, and who you are changes too. Now, this special feeling we get with the early morning dew is not ordinary. It's magical. And this word magical is so often used in a casual way. Oh, I had a magical experience last night, I met an old friend in the pub, and so on and so forth. That's an abuse of the word. If you want to practice magic and to become more capable of being a magician, then you have to use that word with a great deal of reverence and respect what it means. Now, what magic means, you can see it from its two sides. On the one hand, it means choosing what you want to occur in the world and having it happen. A magician casts a spell because they want a result. That's one attitude of magic. The other attitude of magic is to create an atmosphere within which things will unfold in keeping with that atmosphere. And in other words, in the first case you want a specific event to occur, and in the second case you're just concerned with the qualities, the feeling that you've got. And here in the case of the early morning dew, we're talking about the atmosphere of dawn. Nature is magical. Nature creates moods and beliefs and behaviors and all sorts of sensual experiences. Nature does all of that, and is for us to tune into that magical quality of nature. If we practice magic, then we're in keeping with nature. Nature is all magic, really. There is nothing can occur within the natural world which does not touch our feelings and which does not support an event. Nature is pretty much all there is to understand when you understand magic. So for us to tune into that is for us to tune into our magical selves. And when we notice that dawn is aligned with our feeling of rejuvenation, then why not use that? If you're going on a trip, I love the feeling of getting up just before dawn, packing the car, going on a long road trip, and making sure I leave just before the sun comes up, so that you have this feeling of newness. And then the sun's come up and you're on your way. It's wonderful. So that's a good thing to do at dawn, isn't it? To start something new. It's the same on the new moon. It's the same in spring. And if you think about the magic of any situation in nature and use it, we can study what's likely by saying that the new moon is likely to feel like beginnings and so on. And that's very helpful, provided you validate it for yourself. A lot of people would find September a good time to start things. A lot of new things happen in September, most particularly the school year. And there's a good reason for that. So in the Celtic tradition, they celebrated the end and beginning of the year at a different time. It wasn't the 1st of January, it was more like the 1st of November. It was Samhain, because that's their festival of death and therefore rebirth. And so they had this sense of newness at that time of year for whatever reason suited them. And we're each different. So if you find you're not a morning person and the early morning dew doesn't really get you very far, you'll find maybe a sunset has the same effect, or something else. It's for us to calibrate ourselves against the magic of nature in order to use it fully. But we do know that nature always supports our confidence, our faith in its magic. We do know that. And if we don't know that, we really ought to spend a little bit more time in nature finding out that that is true. Your own personal nature is also an aspect of nature. And so if you train your mind to think positively, have faith, have optimism, and therefore speak in optimistic terms, exclude certain words from your vocabulary, include others so that you hear yourself speaking these words, you train your mind to think in that direction, that will somehow embody itself in the nature of your being and attract scenarios to validate it. So speak with confidence, speak with optimism, speak with faith, and you'll find your scenarios turn out the way you want them to be.